Hey guys, welcome to Laurie's Little Studio. I'm Laurie and today I'm going to be painting a rock. Kind of a weird and random project, I know. I've just recently recovered from laryngitis. It lasted a little over a week and I'm now back in action. I've kind of been taking it slow, and today is actually the first day that I have tried to film something. So I found this out in the yard. We have a lot of rocks in our backyard that kind of line the back edge of the deck. And I wanted to put a raised garden box in that area. So it kind of looks like this. This is our deck rail right here. Let me see if I can get you down a little bit closer. Okay, so right here, this is, and we're standing in the grass. The deck is up here. So in each piece of the deck has, you know, the rails. This is the floor of the deck right here, going toward the house. And then this is the lower edge leading into the Bama hair, leading into the grass, you know, right along here. And this is where all the rocks were. You know, we've had mini dogs visit us, and in addition to the mini dogs, we've also had other wildlife like rabbits, raccoons, and they like to move these rocks around looking for whatever it is that little night creatures look for snacks and dinner. But we slid these rocks out to about here. So all along right here. And then we put down a barrier underneath. So now all these rocks are gone. And we built a box and filled it with some dirt. And I've got 2 rows of fall sweet peas seeded in here. I've got 1 long row of dill. I love the flowers on dill, and so do swallowtail butterflies. And I have some of those butterflies in my yard, and I'm hoping that I can, if this will grow and bloom quickly, maybe they'll hang around. I don't know, but it's my first year growing it, and I was really excited to try it. And then in front of that, I've got a full row of zinnias, and the zinnias have already sprouted. I planted those, yeah, exactly 5 days ago, and the whole row, it's like 100% germination rate on the zinnias. So I wanted to point out, here's a little tip. If you ever want to try to grow a garden with your children, and you know, I know that children love almost instantaneous results. Zinnias, all the way. So anyway, while we were digging around and moving these rocks, I found this really big one, which I really like. The entire rock is going to be painted one color first. So that's the first thing I'm going to do, is just get my colors out, decide which one I want to use, and go for it. I have decided I'm going to paint this rock really dark. Sometimes you just have to. So I'm going to go for Mars Black. There's some Mars Black. Now, some gray may poke through, and that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and just use this big filbert brush, get it wet first, and stick to what I know. Oh, and I wanted to mention, before I continue any further, a lot of people have said, and I know that it works because I know people who have done this before, if you have a garden that you are growing red fruits in, like strawberries, raspberries, even tomatoes, if you just take some small rocks that are about the size of the fruits that you're growing, they could be smaller, they could be bigger, in that range, and just paint them red and lay them about in your garden before your fruits are ripe, the birds will come along and they will hit a hard rock thinking it's a strawberry, and they'll hit a hard rock thinking it's a strawberry, it's a raspberry, and eventually they realize, wait a minute, this isn't a raspberry or a strawberry patch at all. This is something else that I don't want to eat. So they will fly away, and then as your fruits ripen, they are undisturbed by those hungry birds because they still see the red and they think, oh, that's that place that has those really weird, hard fruits that I thought I was going to enjoy, and they gave me a headache. So it's something to think about. I have seen it in action and I know that it works. So you could give that a go if you have that problem. All right, so I'll be back tomorrow where I'm going to end up finishing putting some flowers on this black rock, which will then go out into my garden. Good morning, guys. It is Saturday the 13th. Is that the day? Yeah. Boy, it's weird when you don't know what day it is. Good Lord. So I am back with my black Mars black painted rock. Now that my rock is dry, I just need to decide what design I want to use. Now you can use, if I can find it, your pencil will show up on black. So if you want, you know, to draw, I don't know if you can see it. I can see I've drawn a circle right here. The other thing you can do is use chalk. I have chalk, but I don't need it. So if you have a chalk pencil, or, you know, just a plain piece of Taylor's chalk, you can sketch out your design using chalk, which I think you can see right there. I don't think I have a white gel pen that I don't want to use on this, but gray colored pencil sometimes will show up. It's not an issue for me because I can see what I'm drawing, but you would be able to see yours if you were using just a regular graphite pencil. But I am going to, I tried drawing it yesterday and painting from that just for clarity, and I think I'm just going to freehand my painting today. I didn't like it, which is why I ended up going with the black paint. Okay, so what I want to do is just I feel like that's too big. So I need a smaller paintbrush. Yeah, okay, we'll use this one and some white paint. If you like the dimension, you know, where you add a shadow, you might want to make this, leave a little bit of this white, titanium white, for your gray, for your shadow, but I'm just going to paint and not worry about the dimensional business. Okay. Now, one thing to keep in mind when you're painting on a rock is that it doesn't absorb the paint as quickly as paper. In fact, it's not going to absorb the paint at all in this particular case. So it literally has to dry on this rock. If I painted on this piece of paper, the paper being porous would dry the paint on the other side. So the air drying on the top side and the paper would be pulling some of the wet paint away as well and causing it to dry on the bottom. But that won't happen in this case. So we're just going to have to let it dry. If I try to mess with it while it's wet, it'll just smear all over the place. And not dry very well. So I'll have to let that sit and dry by itself. I can do another flower up here or whatever it is that I'm thinking I'm going to do. I'm in my head, I'm kind of planning a different looking daisy. And again, this has to dry before I can do any other steps. Even if I want to add more depth to the petal, which obviously it's going to need some more, some more work. All right, I will be back later today with some more. I'm not going to say the conclusion because I want to add a bit of yellow coming up from and sort of the stability point of this particular flower. There will be some green from the basic stem, and then the same thing on this flower. There will be a yellow center and then possibly some green leaves. I don't know yet how I want to do that. Okay, so the paint is dry. It's still a little tacky, but I can touch it and it's not coming off on my hand. So at this point I can go ahead and kind of add some more dimensional features if I need to, and that is going to happen with the addition of probably a little bit of this medium, well, this is actually lemon yellow, not medium yellow. Let's see what I have in my little, okay, so I have some yellow ochre. I think that's a better option. We'll start with that and a bit of the white, probably off camera. Oh, okay. And the white will just kind of help cool it off a little bit. And I'm not saying that this is a cool color. What I mean is it'll kind of dull it down. But I don't like to use the term dull because it's not really what's happening. It is it's just a bit of a shade change. Okay, I like that. I think that's good for now. And on this one, that's sort of blowing in the breeze, It looks a little bit more like an echinacea than a daisy in this iteration, which is fine. So an echinacea is a cone flower. I have several of these out in my garden right now. I love them. The pollinators just go crazy. Okay. Here we go. All right. Now I'm going to mix some of this light green this is the Hisako color with some of the yellow ochre to get what I hope is kind of a dark sagey green. I hope, yep. I think I'm going to need to add some of this float. There we go. Just to kind of keep it from drying out on me. And I want sort of an inky consistency. That's my hope anyway. Now just remember, when you're painting, the more layers you add, the more details that you put in, the finer your painting becomes. I mean, they have to be well thought out, but each layer will push the first layer further back, and that gives it more of a dimensional look. Okay. All right, so these two need to dry a little bit more, and then I'll be able to add some more details, and I'm still not sure what I want to put over here. Haven't made up my mind about that yet. So I am back to add some more dimension to these guys and possibly put another flower down here. I had also thought about just painting the word welcome or garden or something. Flower, I don't know. Anything. Okay, I have returned with my clean water and my washed out paintbrushes. Okay. Alright, while that wild mess dries, I actually like that. I think I'm going to use some blue. Create the garden, I guess. just on the one side over here by the G. I added some little dots to my word garden. And if you want to, you could just do several little coordinating dots around your flowers or whatever you happened to paint. Okay. Well, hello, studio friends. It has been a minute. I think it's actually been over a week since I was able to get back to the studio. We had moving day, which involved loading up the house down in Oregon and bringing all of the trucks worth of stuff up to Washington, and then unloading into the storage facility, and then trying to recover. So that's kind of what's been going on. I have been inspired by the recent weather to do 2 more rocks, and I'm going to do them in a kind of fall theme that I think most of us are familiar with and might even want to do for a project at home. So I'm going to be using Cad Orange, or Orange, or however you say the color that is right there. Sorry about my fingernails. I have not done my fingernails and I've been gardening, so they're awful. But it just means I'm doing stuff. I'm okay with that. So with this, I'm going to just paint my washed off rocks, and I am going to try to figure out what sides I want to show and what sides I don't care too much about showing. For example, this rock, it's kind of unique. It has these little holes in it. I think I'm going to have, oh, I see potential here. I'm going to have this rock. Yeah, I'm going to have him this way, and this one this way. And I'm just going to dig in and paint. Now, if you're doing this project with children and you want to provide the children with already orange rocks, you can use spray paint. It will spray on beautifully and dry and be probably the perfect shade that you're looking for. Usually the cap color on a spray can of paint is pretty true to what you end up getting. So let's say that you have a group of children, whether you homeschool or it's a Sunday school group or whatever, daycare, just however you are finding yourself with more than 1 or 2 children. I think spray painting the rocks just a brilliant orange or even yellow or even black is a great way to kind of save some time and messy fingers. And the other thing you can do with little kids, or even I would say up to like 3rd grade, is you can use markers to make the features. And if you haven't guessed, I'm thinking little jack-o'-lanterns or even just pumpkins. If they don't want to make a jack-o'-lantern, they can just turn their pretty rock into a pumpkin with a stem and a leaf. Okay. And if you let these dry, you can do more than 1 coat. I am going to let these dry, and I will be back tomorrow with the conclusion of this video, where we're going to paint 2 cute pumpkins to put out in my garden. Alrighty, I am back. These rocks have dried. It's 2 coats of the Cad Orange acrylic paint. And I'm going to just mark with this Sharpie green down here at the bottom where it won't really show, I want to see what it looks like. Okay, it ends up looking black, which is what I was afraid of. So rather than using black, let's see what brown looks like. Brown looks brown. Okay. So I'm going to mark on this side. I'm putting freckles on mine. Okay. And I'll probably color in just a bit. Oh, there it is. Okay, so there's one. Okay, so I'm going to go put these out in my garden. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.